In section 2, we're going to work with 0 and negative exponents. Look at that lightsaber. So we've got the 0 exponents, negative exponents. The goal here is obviously to simplify expressions with both those. So doing everything we've done so far in the past 2 chapters, we've got chapter 4 and then section 1 of chapter 5. But I'm going to toss in some 0 and negative exponents. So here are the rules. 0 power, super easy. All it means is anything to the 0 power except 0. You can't do 0 to the 0 power, it doesn't work. Anything else to the 0 power is 1. So 5 to the 0, 1. 2 to the 0 over 3. Let's make it this a little bit more interesting. Okay, let's go 2 to the 0 all over 3. So 2 to the 0 is 1, so it's 1/3. Negative 1 to the 0, 1. X to the 0, 1. Doesn't matter what it is, it's always 1. Okay, negative exponents or negative powers. What's happening here, if you have this negative exponent, all this means, the negative means the reciprocal of a to the n. Okay, so read a to the negative n as the reciprocal of a to the n, right? Reciprocal, a to the n. Right, so it's 1 over a to the n. You keep the same power, you just drop the negative. Right, so it's basically moving something to the other side of the fraction line. So 2 to the negative 3 is just 1 over 2 to the 3rd, which we know is 1 to the 8th. Okay, 2/3 to the negative 2. Like I said, you could think of it as reciprocal. You could also think of it as just moving to the other side of the fraction line, okay? Because you're going to move the 3 up top and 2 to the bottom. So this one is 3 over 2 squared, which we know is 9 over 4. And 0 to the negative 7th. Let's give this a shot. We've got 1 over 0 to the 7th. 0 to the 7th is 0. Can you have anything with 0 in the denominator? Heck no, undefined. Simplify these bad boys. So, first thing I always do, and I'm only going to draw this a couple times because hopefully you'll be able to see it afterwards, but first thing you always want to do is take a look at your negative exponents and just see what you need to move. These two need to move down to the bottom, right? And these two need to move to the top. Okay, so this first time, I'm going to just write it all out like this. Obviously, you can come up with your own method on how it's going to work. And the last thing I would do is all of your 0 powers, you could just slash out and turn into 1, right? Because 5 to the 0 power doesn't matter. That's 1. So on top, we've got z cubed, x to the first, z squared. And on bottom, we've got 6 to the first, which is just 6, x squared. Okay, so now we can simplify everything. We combine our z's and our x's. And we've got z to the 5th over 6x. Just like that. The second one. Okay, we need to move the m down, so we've got 4 over m squared n. And the second one, remember that when we had a fraction, remember the 2/3 on the other side? All you do is flip it upside down. So we're going to flip this fraction upside down. 3n squared over m cubed. All right, and since it's just to the negative first, it's just that to the first power, which is itself. Now we can multiply, simplify, reduce, cancel, all that stuff. So we've got 4 times 3 is 12. N squared over n is just n on top, and m to the 5th on bottom. Now we've got negative first to the negative second power. Okay, a couple different ways that we could work with this. The way that I would suggest is to first do that negative 1 and then do the negative 2 power. Right? It's just going to help you in the long run here. So if we've got negative 1 over 5, right? The reason we do that first is just because the negative 1 is on there, right? And we got the first power, so we're all good there. To the negative second, so flip it, negative 5 squared. Okay, negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. And number 4. Okay, we can work on the inside first and then use the negative second power. I think that's probably the best way to go. So 1/2 to the negative second power is 2 squared times 5/7. Take that whole thing to the negative 2 power. So it's 4 times 5 over 7. I could probably do that all at the same time. 4 times 5 is 20 over 7. Okay, that's going to the negative second. So remember, we just need to flip it and square it. So 7 squared is 49, and 20 squared is 400. Number 5. Now, this negative second power, remember, is working on the whole 3a cubed. So that whole thing is going down to the bottom. and the a to the negative 3, b to the negative 3 goes to the top. Okay, so a cubed, b cubed goes on top, and on bottom we have to square our 3a cubed. So it's going to be 9a to the 6th. Okay, so the 9 you can't do anything with. The a's cancel each other out. The b stays the same. And that's the final answer. Last one of the style here. Got to rewrite everything without negative exponents first. So let's go s squared over r times. Now this negative 1 here, right, here's another way to do this. Let's actually do power to a power. Right, let's put that negative 1 in on each of our exponents. This is another way to do this if you prefer this method. Okay, so you can multiply exponents because it's power to a power. So we've got r to negative 1 times negative 1 power is just r to the first. And s to the 2 times negative 1 power is negative 2 power. Right, so rewrite this. Move the s to the negative 2 up top. We get s squared over r times r s squared over 1. Now we can reduce, cancel those guys out, and we're left with s to the 4th. Now, the right without using fractions thing we'll go over in class, so no need to worry about it.